The modern UFO phenomenon was born in the late 1940s in the desert lands of the southwest United States. But there is evidence that aliens first arrived on Earth eons earlier, half a world away. The Australian outback is one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. It's been home to the Australian Aborigines for 70,000 years, and archaeological evidence suggests they weren't alone. Aboriginal legends and rock paintings have led many experts to believe that aliens have been communicating with Australia's indigenous people for 70,000 years, and that the two cultures have an ongoing relationship. But over the past 2 centuries, others have intruded on this sacred land, and some experts believe this may have set catastrophic forces in motion that will bring about the end of the world as we know it. Have aliens invaded Australia's outback? And if so, what is their ultimate goal? From ancient legends to ghostly spacemen and underground alien bases, join us as we investigate the mystery of UFOs down under on Unsealed Alien Files. A global effort has begun. Secret files hidden from the public for decades, detailing every UFO account, are now available to the public. We are about to uncover the truth behind these classified documents. Find out what the government doesn't want you to know. Unsealed Alien Files. Exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. South Australia, 1988. Faye Knowles and her 3 sons are driving across the vast Nullarbor Plain, a barren expanse on Australia's south coast. In the early morning of January 28th, the travelers see a strange light ahead. Catching up with it, they observe a small craft hovering over the road, moving back and forth. The Knowles cautiously pass by the strange object and continue on their way. But the UFO isn't about to let them by so easily. Unsealed Case File. The Nullarbor Plain Incident. Looking in the rearview mirror, the family watches in terror as it begins to pursue them. The craft catches up to the car and lands on the roof. The family is helpless as their car is lifted off the ground and dropped down, bursting one of its tires. Fearing for their lives, they take cover in some nearby bushes until the UFO disappears. Authorities later speculate that the mother of 3 simply lost control of their car during a meteorite shower. But evidence found on the automobile tells a different story. It's covered with dents, and traces of a black sooty substance are found on its surfaces. The Knowles encounter is just one of hundreds of reported alien abduction incidents in Australia's vast wilderness. And the mystery doesn't end there. It is alleged that the victims of these abductions are almost all European in descent, and not the continent's original inhabitants, the Australian Aborigines. They represent the world's oldest continuous culture, dating back 70,000 years. According to their legends, the world and all of its inhabitants were created by a pantheon of gods and goddesses during an era they call the Dreamtime. Just north of the Nullarbor Plain is Uluru, otherwise known as Ayers Rock. It rises 2,800 feet above the surrounding desert. It is a place of great spiritual importance for the Aborigines, and some ufologists believe it is where extraterrestrials first landed on Earth millennia ago to create the human race.
I think the earliest representation of things that don't appear to be from this Earth are from these cave paintings that go back 40,000 years. We have these notions written into the oral traditions of the Aboriginals of Australia.
Were the beings depicted in these ancient rock paintings really alien visitors to planet Earth? And were they friends to the Aborigines? Certain aspects of their culture offer some tantalizing clues. The ancient Aborigines are considered to be the world's first astronomers, and some of their ancient initiation rites bear an uncanny resemblance to modern accounts of alien abductions. In one key legend, Sky beings abduct an ancient Aboriginal man, exchanged internal organs with him, and implanted him with sacred stones that allow him to communicate with them. He was then returned to Earth as the first tribal shaman. Did aliens grant Australian Aborigines a special power and then cultivate the relationship for millennia? The Aborigines believe that aliens don't abduct members of their community because they have an ongoing relationship, one that shares the outback's most precious commodity, water. But some experts believe when the Australian Aborigines were thrown off their land to make way for experiments with the ultimate weapon, alien interference stepped up. Australia's outback is a hotspot for alien abductions, but allegedly, UFOs only target people of European descent, leaving the indigenous Aboriginal population alone. Are aliens really roaming the outback? And if they are, what is their ultimate goal? Since its inception, Australia has been part of the British Commonwealth of Nations. In the early days of the Cold War, the outback presented Britain with a vast, unpopulated area in which to test its burgeoning nuclear arsenal. Ground zero for this program is the Woomera test range at the eastern end of the Nullarbor Plain.
Woomera in Australia is sometimes called the Australian Area 51, or simply Area 53, because Area 51 is in Nevada, Area 52 is in Douglas, Utah, so Area 53 is in Woomera, Australia. It is a highly classified top secret testing area.
Between 1959 and 1963, Britain conducts more than 40 top-secret nuclear tests in the area. The Woomera program forces the relocation of the local Aboriginal population. Those who remain or return to the area without authorization will unwittingly absorb the radiation left behind and suffer its terrible effects for decades to come. And according to reports, it wasn't long before the Woomera site began attracting the Aborigines' ancient benefactors. July 15, 1960, a Woomera security officer spots a strange white light traveling across the evening sky. As it draws closer, the light takes on a reddish hue, leading the man to believe it is a balloon that has caught fire. At the same time, miles away, another security officer catches sight of the same object. The UFO passes unchallenged and disappears into the night. An investigation is launched into how any aircraft could have penetrated Australia's most restricted airspace. Theories from stray weather balloons to St. Elmo's fire to even a prank by base staff are put forward, only to be summarily dismissed. In the end, the UFO's identity and purpose remain a mystery. The incident is just one of many that occur over the Woomera test range during the 1960s. But nothing could prepare base personnel for the shocking events of May 1964. Unsealed case file. The Woomera Spacemen. Cumbria, England, May 23rd, 1964. Half a world away from Woomera, firefighter Jim Templeton is on a day trip with his 5-year-old daughter, Elizabeth. The two stop near the village of Burr-by-Sands, where Templeton decides to take a few snapshots. Looking at the photos, Templeton is shocked to see what appears to be an astronaut in full spacewalk gear looming in the background behind his daughter. He has no recollection of any such figure from that day. Templeton takes the photo to a local newspaper, and within hours, the image is appearing in publications all over the world, including Australia. May 24th, a day after the Templeton's encounter, Woomera Test Range is set to launch Britain's most controversial piece of military technology.
Woomera was the test facility running trials with the Blue Streak, which was Great Britain's first intercontinental ballistic missile.
It was originally designed in the 1950s to carry a nuclear payload, but by 1964, the Blue Streak missile has been repurposed as a launch vehicle for Europe's newly minted space program. But just as the missile is about to launch, something extraordinary happens.
There was ostensibly a video of two white-garbed, quote-unquote, spacemen running across the launch pad, the launch area of this British missile.
The two mysterious figures disappear without a trace, leaving Woomera personnel baffled. But in the weeks that follow, the world media notices some chilling connections.
When the Templeton photo began to be publicized, immediately press people saw the similarities between the two creatures and the way they were dressed. Templeton himself said that the creatures that were described in the video looked exactly like the creature that was in the photograph, the middle photograph of his daughter.
The resemblance is uncanny, but this is only the beginning. Not long after, another disturbing connection between the two incidents is drawn when it's revealed that the Blue Streaks assembly plant is located in Cumbria, not far from where the Templeton photograph was taken. The news leaves some concern that both the assembly plant and the Woomera test range are being watched by aliens with an alarming interest in the latest Earth technology.
What was so odd about the quote-unquote Woomera spacemen is why were these creatures, assuming they were actually there, interrupting a highly classified missile test launch?
Were aliens keeping an eye on Britain's military capability? And if they were, what did they intend to do with this knowledge? The Australian outback has been a hotbed of alleged alien activity for thousands of years. Much of it centered around the Woomera test range. But Woomera isn't the interior's only off-limits outpost. Deeper still is another secret base, one that might hold the secret behind the alleged alien presence down under. September 15th, 1991, the Space Shuttle Discovery captures stunning video evidence of a UFO speeding across the skies of Central Australia at an estimated 54,000 miles per hour. Any in-flight maneuvers at this velocity would generate G-forces far beyond the realm of human endurance. The flight path of this and many other UFOs have been traced back to one of the world's most secret installations, jointly run by the Australian and American militaries. Its original name was the Joint Defense Space Research Facility. Today, it's better known as Pine Gap. The base was established in 1970 as a satellite tracking station. But many experts believe this is a false front to cover up the installation's real purpose. According to reports, the isolated outpost is in fact home to continuing American experiments with alien technology retrieved from alleged UFO crashes, including the infamous incident at Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. Situated deep in the heart of the outback, Pine Gap presents the perfect location for just such an installation. But for the residents of nearby Alice Springs, Pine Gap has been an unwelcome addition to the area. November 1st, 1996, two women are driving through the desert at night, just north of Pine Gap, when they spot a bright blue glow in a group of trees. Suddenly, the light rises and begins moving toward them. The women later describe it as huge, the size of a semi-trailer, with a flat base and a rounded top. The UFO begins following them, hovering above the car. The women are sure they are being watched and are relieved when the object breaks off its pursuit in the direction of Pine Gap. It's just one of dozens of disturbing UFO encounters reported in the area since the base's arrival, and it raises a disturbing question. Are the Pine Gap UFOs products of reverse-engineered alien technology? Or are they fully extraterrestrial in nature? Many experts believe the answer lies deep inside the installation. The base is reported to include 9 extensive underground levels, extending some 5 miles down into the earth and built to withstand as many as 3 simultaneous nuclear weapon strikes. Other evidence points to a 1,400-mile-long underground link to a submarine station on the continent's northwest coast. There are even claims that an underground teleportation device connects Pine Gap with its American counterparts, Area 51 in Nevada. Could the Pine Gap facility be home to technology far beyond anything known today? Was this achieved with alien help? And the most pressing question of all, what is the base's purpose? Unsealed case file. The lifeboat theory. In the 1950s, Philip Baxter, head of the Australian Atomic Energy Commission, made a radical proposal. Baxter sought to stock Australia with nuclear weapons, imagining it as a kind of lifeboat for the British, American, and Australian elites in the event of a global catastrophe. Publicly, Baxter's plan was quickly dismissed, but the extreme secrecy surrounding Pine Gap has left some experts convinced that his plan may in fact have been carried out there, and any alien rumors are just an elaborate smokescreen to conceal its true purpose.
If you're going to have secret locations, if you're going to have locations where your government, your military, your top leaders are going to be hidden and protected underground in bunkers, deep, deep bunkers, you don't want to tell the enemy where they are.
But there is another chilling possibility to consider. If Pine Gap really is a post-apocalyptic lifeboat for the world's elites, could it actually have been constructed with an alien agenda? Over the last few decades, Australia's vast, desolate outback has seen a sharp increase in UFO activity. Top-secret installations at Woomera and Pine Gap have gained a sinister reputation as land where aliens are rumored to tread. And according to some experts, Pine Gap may in fact be a kind of underground lifeboat engineered to ride out some future catastrophe. The question is, what form will this apocalypse take? The answer may lie in the ancient tales at the heart of Aboriginal culture. Aboriginal prophecy, handed down over the generations, tells of the coming of the end times as we enter another dimension. According to one prominent tribal elder, the human race will face tidal waves and earthquakes as punishment for failing to see the land as our mother. Another traditional prophecy speaks of a black rain that will fall across the world. Today, black rain is a term used to describe the deadly radioactive fallout that will blanket the world in the hours following a global nuclear war and end virtually all life on the surface of planet Earth. Did aliens foretell the end of the world to the Australian Aborigines? And if the underground facility at Pine Gap is a kind of lifeboat, who will be invited to emerge from the ruins of a doomsday scenario and start again? This is Unsealed, Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth.